first part is when your keg is empty, you want to go ahead and close both of these two valves here on top of the keg, and then the two blue valves that correspond to the hoses on your system. So there'll be one on the argon manifold and one at the bottom of the rear column. Close those valves, and you can go ahead and disconnect both of these hoses that are going to be connected here. So when you disconnect the argon hose, you don't really have to worry about the argon leaking out. You will a little bit, but nothing to worry about. Now with this other one here, it's going to be full of solvent. So as soon as you get it disconnected, you want to flip it up and put in one of the plugs that comes with the system. Okay. Now you're not going to be spilling solvent all over the bottom of your cabinet. All right. So right up here, there is this weld that goes around. That's going to be about the 18-liter mark. So that's about where you want your maximum amount of solvent to be. So when you're filling it up, if you're putting in 4 of the 4-liter glass style jugs, it'll bring it right up to about here. This is 18, and if you use one of the big 20 liters jugs, it's going to bring it all the way up to the top here, and you won't have any room for degassing. So don't let it go all 20 liters inside. So once you get it full, you want to put your cap back on. Tighten down the nut. Okay. Go ahead and, under normal circumstances, you would be hooking the argon up to the green line and hooking up your solvent line to this one. But when we're degassing, we're going to do it opposite. So I'm actually going to hook up my argon line to the solvent line. The reason for that is there is a dip tube that goes all the way to the bottom of this keg. So now the argon will come in, go down that tube, and bubble everything up, and then get exhausted through this valve right here. So in order to start our degassing, we want about 12 or so PSI. 8 to 12 is pretty good. So I would turn this on. I'll open up the argon line, and then I'll slowly put on a little bit of argon. Now once the argon starts flowing, you're going to be able to feel the bubbling inside of the keg. You want a moderate bubbling. Anything too violent of a bubbling, and half of your solvent's going to start coming out and getting wasted. So something where you can barely feel it rumbling is good. Now you're going to let it sit here and go like this for 30 minutes. After that 30 minutes is up, I want to close this valve, and I'm going to wait about 7-8 seconds. Just build up a little bit of pressure inside of that keg. After about 7-8 seconds, I'll go ahead and I'll close that valve completely. Now I'm going to let it sit like this for about 5 minutes. Let it all settle. After that 5 minutes is up, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do it again for another 5 minutes. So this time, I'm going to go ahead and open up the argon side, and then I'll let this one out. And then you can go ahead and adjust it so you can get that light rumble. Okay. Now after it's been going for 15 minutes, what I want to do is I'm going to close the argon line, the exhaust line here again. And this time I'm going to let it build up pressure for probably 40-45 seconds. So after that 45 seconds of building up the pressure, I can go ahead and close this and disconnect my argon supply. So now we have a keg that has been fully degassed. You go to put the argon line on, get it a little bit loose, and then you can open it up, and that way it's going to purge all that air out of that hose with the argon, and then you can connect it like this. That way none of the moisture should be left in your hose. And then you go ahead and you take out that plug out of your solvent line, connect it in here, and open these two valves and the other two valves, and you should be good to go.